Hello everyone, welcome back to my Let's Replay channel. Once again, this is Andrew T coming at you. And today we're going to be doing our vlog review of the Banner Saga. Now, I mentioned in the video it was the second time I tried to upload it, so it wasn't exactly a first impression, but more like a second impression. But I didn't get that far into the beginning, I only got to chapter 2, so it is kind of still partly a first impression. But anyway, let's get on to the game. So this game came out a while ago. It already has a sequel. So I've had this in my library forever, and I just could not get around to playing it because, you know, if you've ever played any tile, attack game, you pretty much played them all, depending on what the preferences are and what the style is. So I was really easy to get into this if you ever played, XCOM or things like that, or even Fallout, the original Fallout, where you kind of move and then fire, or you have a certain amount of time or spaces to do things, depending on the character you have. Heck, even back to Shining Force on Genesis. So, this game is very visual. It cranks out at you right at the beginning, where it's very, very well done on the drawings, and it doesn't overdo it, and it doesn't I don't want to say underdo it. It's not underwhelming, it's not overwhelming. It's kind of a nice place in the middle. But it does, when the story gets going a little bit more, that first kind of cutscene kind of lets you think about what the giants can do, but it doesn't really show that a whole lot more afterwards, especially in going in the next chapter. You kind of have to use your imagination a lot. So you can tell that they didn't have a whole lot of budget on this one to do a whole lot of cutscenes for every chapter or every single scene. So other than the battles, most of the story goes along in those little dialogue trees that you saw, where you have one character or another character talking, and you make a decision on what you want to say out of 3. And sometimes it can be 3 to 5 from what I found, but most of the time it's just 3. And the game says later on that the decisions you make only affect battle, but they don't really affect storyline. So I had a situation later on in the second chapter where I had to make a decision where I would take someone in battle or not, and I was like, well, I want to have as many guys as possible in the battle, so I did. And then in the story, the person ended up dying. I don't know if that was supposed to be in the story, or if that was something that wouldn't have happened if I would have sent them away. But either way, it was pretty fun to go through these battles. But the only thing I don't like is that you feel like you have to do them perfectly, because if, like it showed in this one, and the first time I went through on the very second battle, I didn't lose a single person. I just tore through them. I just moved everyone up, played aggressive and kind of took them down willy-nilly. This time, because I didn't play aggressively, they kind of set up a defense, and then I had to go into that, and they ended up injuring one of my giant bodyguards there. And when you do that, you have to rest and have them recuperate in order to get back to kind of full fighting strength. Otherwise, they're not as effective in the next fight. So it's kind of like Darkest Dungeon, where if someone gets injured, it carries on to the next fight unless you cure them. So I was really looking forward to this game because I heard such great things about it. But unless you're into like the Norse mythology and into things like Ragnarok and giants and all that stuff in there, which it was, to me, I find it pretty interesting, because I am kind of into that stuff when it's done well, and this seemed like a pretty good story, especially going forward when you switch perspectives in the second chapter to another party that's fighting the same things you are. But the decisions you make for supplies and food and what to spend your points on, that all goes into the game as well. So there's some RPG elements to the strategy too, which I like. The parts I don't like are that I can basically put down this game into one category, and that's category and a half. It's a visual novel with strategy battles in between, because just like the game said, your story choices don't matter for the story. It's just going to depend on how hard the battle is, depending on who you have going into battle with the dialogue choices. So that's the other thing. Like, if a battle's too hard, you don't know if you made the right dialogue choices. So it's almost like, okay, you got to look up a wiki just to go through it. And I had it on easy, and these battles were not that easy. The first playthrough I had, I lost a guy in the just before the second chapter started. I don't know if I could have saved him. That's just what it is. I'm like, oh, I thought he was supposed to be injured. Nope, the guy died. Okay. So I didn't know. I don't know if that guy's supposed to die, or if I could have saved him, or what. So and the battles take so long to do that I don't know if I want to go start over again, because I don't see a save option. I looked on the escape, and you can see it on there. It says load or resume. I guess they want to treat this as a roguelite as well, and be like, okay, you can go on the story, but if someone dies, they die, unless you want to start over and try again and do a perfect run-through. So I don't really like that aspect of it. I want to kind of save and see if I can, do the battles right beforehand better each time, but I didn't see an option for that, and didn't explain it to me. So I was already in chapter 2, and it didn't say, oh yeah, you can save it. All it said was, when you try to quit, if you quit now, you'll have to resume from the last place it's saved. Okay, so there's an automatic save, but I can't save over it, and I can't do my own save, so I didn't like that aspect of it. But I have to say, like I said, the animation's beautiful. It still holds up. It was done very well. It's for the minimalists that they had for the cutscenes. It does kind of pull you into the world with it's very good writing and imagination. Though the voice acting and narrative is very good as well, so they didn't skimp on that. For an indie game, I thought it's done very well. It's had a lot of love and care put into it, you can tell, and I did enjoy some aspects of it, but when it comes down to playing the whole thing, not sure I can do that. It's not quite on my cup of tea when it comes to this whole thing is strategy, and especially how hard it is even on easy. I like to enjoy my games, and unless it's a universe I'm really invested in, then it's really hard for me to really get into these kind of strategy games where they're really hard and you have to put a lot of thought into every move and counter move and things like that, because they played totally different the first time than it did the second time in the second tutorial battle I went through. So I don't know. If I had to score this, being unbiased and just saying, okay, for the price it is right now on GOG.com, or if you get free on your iPhone with one of those sales, or whatever the case may be, I have to say I have to give it a solid 7 out of 10, just because it is above average. If it's something that you're interested in and you kind of like the play style, I'd say go for it if the price is right. So yeah, it's definitely a good pickup for anyone looking to kill some time and get in some good story in Norse mythology, and looking to have some, not Dark Souls like fun, but just a nice challenging game. Not overly hard, but challenging is the word I put it. So anyway, that's going to be our video for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, this is Andrew T coming at you. What a great day for a replay. Y'all have a good one.